Last week we talked about step one. Step one is presenting your body to God, a living sacrifice, which is found in Romans 12:1. Step two is Romans 12:2 is talking about the transformation process. Be not conformed, starts out, and be not conformed, or do not be conformed to the pattern of the world. Don't let the world squeeze you into its methods of responding, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That word transformation comes from a Greek word called metamorpho, which is what we get our scientific term from metamorphosis, which is, the best picture to paint for that is a worm spinning a cocoon around himself, dying, coming out the other end of the cocoon as a beautiful butterfly. 180-degree change in that creature called the worm now becomes this beautiful butterfly. Well, God wants more butterflies in His kingdom. He wants people who are willing to quit crawling on the ground like a worm and acting like the world. And He wants us to begin to submit to Him in our times of trouble. And that's what this transformation is all about. See, there's an internal change that takes place. In the dictionary, Webster's Dictionary, it talks about metamorphosis or transformation is that internal restructuring that produces an external change. Now, the way I can explain that a little better is I used to be driven by anger and rage all the time. Didn't know why. Everybody tried to help me conquer my anger problem. I didn't have an anger problem. I had a problem called inadequacy. And every time something made me feel inadequate, I'd get angry. Well, I didn't know I was inadequate. I didn't know I felt inadequate. All I knew was every time something would come against me, I'd get angry. And I'd go into a fit and a rage and act like a fool. Well, God spoke to me one day when I asked the right questions and began to communicate with Him. When I took step one, I beseech you therefore, brethren, present your body to God. That step one was a day when I finally had it up to here with my anger, and I was so sick of me I couldn't stand me. So I hollered at God. I said, God, where in the, well, not so nice words, where did my anger come from? And I was submitting my body to God. May not have been the perfect way, but I did. And God showed me where I was hurting. Well, it took me all the way back to age 9 when I believed I'd never be good enough no matter how hard I tried. Well, I said to God, thank you, buddy. Now you've proven to me I've been inadequate my whole life. That's the first time I ever sensed that I felt inadequate. And God spoke to me and said, I didn't make you inadequate. Well, that angered me. I said, I was picking a fight with God. I said, did you say you didn't make me inadequate? And the moment I said that, what happened? Whew. Years of pain and years of struggle, all that junk in me drained out of me. I changed just like that. That's what will happen to you if you submit your body to God during these times of struggle and refuse to let the world squeeze you into its mold. But I didn't know it then, but I know it now, that in the process of doing that, there is a restructuring taking place. You see, what happens was God spoke truth to me. And when I spoke aloud, I spoke it for the wrong motivation when I was learning this. I spoke in anger, but I spoke it. And when you speak the Word of God, when the Word comes to you from heaven and you speak it out of your mouth, I tell you, your atmosphere change, things change. I've seen the dead raised because I spoke what God put in my mind. I've seen terminally ill patients totally healed instantly when I speak what God puts in my mind, you see. Lives change, world change, atmospheres change when you have the audacity to turn your pain over to God and let Him speak to you. So Romans 12:2a, be not conformed to the pattern of the world. See, the world wants to strike back every time. That's where road rage comes from. That's where all this divorce and craziness comes from. That's where child abuse comes from. All these things, this pain triggered in our lives, causing a reaction and a response that we're later very, very sorry for and wish we'd never done. So, as we submit our flesh to Him by telling Him what we're feeling, we're inviting Him into our life. Philippians 4:6 says it this way, be anxious for nothing, but in all things through prayer and supplication, Make your request known to God. In other words, in all your issues, talk to me. Submit to me. Talk to me. Tell me what you're feeling. That's what he's saying. Philippians 4:6. Tell me what you're feeling. And then 4:7 says, and I'll give you peace that you can't understand. That's what happened to me that day. When he spoke to me and said, I didn't make you inadequate. I spoke out loud. Did you say? I said. And I said what he said. And oh my goodness, the transformation, the change came over me. Now, that was the internal restructuring. He changed a lie I believed to be true about myself. He changed it to truth and recorded it in my subconscious when I spoke what he said. Changed that. I can go back to that memory now. It never hurts again, see? I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people down through the years. And the memories that once caused them pain enough to be schizophrenic is gone. And never returns, you see. When the Son makes you free, you're free indeed. Romans 8:32, 8:36. Now, he's promised us peace. And this is the only way you get this peace. This is it. Talking to God. Not allowing the world to keep you looking like the world, see. You ever wonder why a Christian, you know somebody's born again, you know they're a Christian, yet they act like the world, they talk like the world? Well, it's because the pains of their life are driving their life, and rather than turning it over to God, which many don't know how, rather than turning it over to God, what they're doing is allowing the world's process and their old flesh to drive them. What God's wanting you and I to do is to crucify the flesh. Tell the flesh, sit down, be quiet, hush, and go to God with what you're struggling with and what you're feeling. I guarantee you do it. It works. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times down through the last 38 years, and it's worked on me and continues to work with me. Every time I face a struggle, I rush to Jesus. Let me tell you, he's got the answers. He's the doctor. He's the one that'll change your life. Internal restructuring that produces an external change. See, my external change was noted by my wife a few days after I had that incident with God. And she looked at me and she said, Larry, are you okay? And I said, well, I think so. Why? She said, well, you just look so peaceful. She said, you don't look all tense, uptight anymore. And she said, I've noticed lately that I've seen situations that would have once made you angry, but you're not angry anymore. See, internally restructured my mind, causing that pain to be turned to truth, which is now peace. And now I respond differently, producing an external change. I've seen people change so drastically that their relatives and people close to them hardly believe that's who it was because they changed so drastically. So if he shows you a memory, he's showing you where the source of your pain is. Now, if you're angry, let's say you're frustrated, you're presenting your body to God, a living sacrifice, and you're just telling him what you feel. God, right now I'm angry. God may just speak a truth to you. He may say, just let it go. You're okay. Forgive them. I'll power you. I'll give you the ability to forgive them. If he does, follow him and ask him to help you forgive, and then just do that. God, I forgive them because I know they don't have a clue what they're doing. And I want to live for you. If he speaks to you and you speak to him and you're going to change, you're going to find yourself. Now, if you got that same problem reoccurring all the time, you know, like I did, angry all the time. I could talk to a God about one anger episode, and God would give me truth about that episode, which would give me peace for that moment. But next time I'd turn around, you know, maybe an hour, half hour later, I'd be triggered again, getting angry again. Well, that's an indication that you got stuff going on in your subconscious mind. That's an indication that there's something there being triggered. And you need to ask God the question, where's this pain coming from? Why do I act this way? What's causing it? Now be quiet in your mind. Just quiet your mind, you know. And you got to go to God with a quiet mind. That's like when you and I talk, you look at me, right? Well, when we talk to God, we look at him with a quiet mind. We focus on him. So we go to God, we ask him to, where's my pain coming from? He'll show you a memory. People say, well, what's my past got to do with it? It's got everything to do with it. Because your past is programmed your current behavior. See, all we are is an accumulation of memories. That's all we are. And it's what happened in your past, someplace in your past, that's causing you to act and respond the way you act and respond today. You ever feel like you act like a little kid? Then I'll bet you $5 to a donut there's a little kid in you. When you were younger, you got hurt somehow, and that's being triggered over and over again. I've seen too many marriages dissolve because of things that happened to the individuals long before they ever met each other. But in their relationship with each other, they were triggering each other, you see. And of course, we've been taught wrong many times about feelings. We think, well, yeah, I was happy till you came in the room and now I feel horrible. Well, it must be your fault. Well, it's nobody's fault. Nobody has the power to make you or I feel anything. Our feelings are the direct result of what we believe to be true about ourselves through misinterpretations or interpretations of past experiences or the current moment and the misinterpretation of this very moment. That's where our emotional pain comes from. That's why God gave us emotional pain. He gave us emotional pain so we know we believe a lie about us. You see, you'll never step any further with God until you begin to get this transformation process going on, because until you do, there's very little maturing taking place spiritually and emotionally in you. And God needs mature ministers. So, be not conformed to the pattern of the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The next video we talk about the testing and proving what God's will is and being able to go further with God. But I'm telling you, this is the second step. You might want to get out on my website, and out there I've got all kinds of literature and books I've written and things I've written over the years, learning how to help people get rid of their pain. So today we're talking about transforming the mind, which is what happens when you find peace. You've transformed the mind. Some metamorphosis takes place, you see. So you might want to go out there and go out to my website, LarryLowe.com, right there, LarryLowe.com. And look at the books that are out there. They're there for you. Yeah, they might cost a little bit, but you may not understand. In today's world, you don't publish for free. Wished I could. Then I'd give them all away, but I can't. So anyway, this is the second step. First was present your body to God. Second, it's to disallow the world to squeeze you into its mold, but allow Him to make that change. And you understand that metamorphosis, that change to your subconscious mind comes from your communication with God about what you're feeling at that moment. So if you enjoy what you're hearing, if you're learning something from this, please subscribe to my channel. There's a lot more to come, and everything I produce and everything I'm going to post will directly affect your life. I guarantee it, if you put it to work. God bless you, friends. If you like this, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, leave me some comments,